Functional rig training, rig safety module. There are a number of key safety concerns when using a functional training rig, and these relate to the rig itself, pull-up bars, monkey bars, wings, and then the attachments, such as dip bars, steps, and the resistance cord. In regards to these key safety concerns, serious injury potentials are highlighted in red, other safety concerns are in black. Rig safety. So the frame should be securely fixed to the floor and or the wall to ensure no movement or tipping over. Should be aware of other users on other stations and know the training space required for other stations. Should ensure adequate clearance above the rig for exercises like pull-ups or muscle-ups to avoid banging the head on the ceiling. And you should ensure you face the correct way when performing pull-ups on the frame. So regarding performing pull-ups on the frame, obviously you just need to make sure that you are facing the correct way so that there's adequate head clearance, so that when you do perform pull-up movement, you're not going to be banging your head onto the frame as you perform that exercise. Monkey bar and wing safety. So key safety concerns include not working through the monkey bar progression module, which we'll go through in a moment, falling onto attachments such as the dip bars or the step, or other functional equipment such as battle ropes or steps, etc., or falling awkwardly. Key thing with this is, particularly with the dip bars and the steps and other functional equipment, if you are on the monkey bars or performing exercises on the wing, you need to make sure that the area beneath it is clear, so there is no chance of you falling onto either a piece of attachment or functional equipment. Falling awkwardly, particularly as your grip fail, it isn't unusual for you to fall at an angle, and this can result in you falling awkwardly and rolling your ankle upon falling. Other safety concerns: banging head on the bars during pull-ups or hand slides. So some, particularly the kind of monkey bars, we can keep them all at a low level, or we can kind of alternate high and low. Again, you just need to make sure there's sufficient head clearance for the exercise you're going to be performing. There are some stupid exercises that some people perform, such as hanging upside down, what we will show you later on as Rocky style sit-ups, and jumping swings as well, which is not necessarily a stupid exercise, but just too advanced for most people. So regarding the monkey bar progression model, we want to assess grip strength and endurance first of all. So what we do with users, we actually get them to kind of perform a hang for duration, just to see how long they can hold on for. This should be a bare minimum for about 30 to 45 seconds at least. If they can't hold on for 30 seconds, then really they're going to struggle with any of the more advanced exercises. What we then usually program in is certain hanging drills, which will allow us to improve our grip strength and endurance, and also train our core at the same time. And we'll go through a number of these within that presentation. Then we progress people on to then starting to move their hands. So you're going to lift one hand off and move it to the side, or forwards and backwards. And these moving hand drills or shuffles can then be progressed to moving a hand from one bar to another bar, what we call bar to bar walks. You don't want to do those until you've got adequate grip and strength and endurance, and also good core stability, which we would have improved and progressed with the previous phase. Once we can move our hands well and we can control that movement, then we can progress onto zigzag drills, which will help us to increase the time under tension and really kind of progress the exercises, the hand shuffles and the bar-to-bar walks that we'll go through. So as we said, you want to avoid placing attachments directly beneath the monkey bars or the wings, just because if, as and when you do need to kind of drop down, you don't want to drop onto an attachment like the dip bars. So if you look at the two images shown there, the one on the left, the dip bars have been positioned so that they actually kind of, if you are on the monkey bars above, then there is the potential for you falling and hurting yourself on those dip bars. If you see the image on the right, we've actually kind of flipped it about 90 degrees, and therefore they're now kind of facing outwards. And as you're using the monkey bars, that would now be. So you want to avoid placing any functional equipment directly beneath the monkey bars when in use. And when in use is an important thing. It doesn't matter if you want to extend some battle ropes out or place a step, swing a kettlebell, etc. beneath the monkey bars. If you are doing that, or beneath a wing as well, but if you are doing that, then you want to make sure that the monkey bars are not in use at that particular time. When you go to use the monkey bars, you just need to make sure that the landing area is clear. So you wouldn't want someone performing battle rope waves, any stretching, or any kind of other exercises they might want to perform in that space. So steps, battle ropes, medicine balls, etc. can easily be used underneath the monkey bars or wings, but during, or if they are being used, then effectively the monkey bar is going to be out. So falling awkwardly is something that we would commonly see, usually due to a weak grip or fatigue. So as we see here, the grip will fail and the member will fall at an angle, usually about kind of 30-45 degrees or so. And this does increase the risk of you kind of rolling and spraining your ankle. Again, as we see here, someone's grip becomes fatigued. Now, one of the ways around this is not to progress the exercises too quickly, but also there's a technical aspect. If you want to take one hand off, you should actively pull the shoulder blades down. If the shoulders are up, elevated, and there's no active tension in the back, then as soon as you let go with one hand, as we see, it's much easier to fall at an angle. Hanging upside down from monkey bars or the wings, unfortunately carries a very high risk of injury and therefore should not be allowed under any circumstances. So as you see here, this trainer, just for demonstration purposes, hanging upside down. A lot of people, or some people, will try to do this to perform what we call Rocky style sit-ups. So hanging upside down and then performing a effectively inverted sit-up. Telltale signs of this: some people may put the neck protectors that you use when you're doing squatting, may put those on the monkey bars so it doesn't hurt the back of their knee. Now, whether you think that exercise is a good exercise or not, or suitable or not, the main risk with this comes from when you're trying to hook your legs over the top, or when you finish the set and you're trying to get down. And unfortunately, no matter how good the exercise is, if you fall upside down, you're probably at best going to dislocate your shoulder or your collarbone, and at worst, potentially some kind of spinal injury. So unfortunately, the risk to benefit ratio is just skewed that it just shouldn't be allowed at all. Now, jumping swings is another exercise that we unfortunately do see people attempt quite a bit, where we effectively swing from one bar to the next. We let go with both hands and then take hold of the next bar, effectively catch ourselves as we start to fall. This is a highly advanced exercise, although you may see it on things like Ninja Warrior and stuff like that. It is incredibly difficult. Most people, when they attempt it, they don't have the strength, particularly grip strength, so their grip fails just as their legs swing upwards and they land on their back. At best, they win themselves. At worst, they break something. So again, you don't want to advocate that exercise unless someone is incredibly strong and can demonstrate all of the previous progressions beneath them. And even then, again, you just have to weigh up the risk to benefit ratio. Attachment safety. So if you are using attachments that can be moved from one upright to the next, then there's a few safety concerns associated with this. To begin with, trapping fingers when attaching these uprights to the frame is one potential. Falling onto these attachments from the monkey bars or pull-up bars, as we've kind of discussed previously. Walking into the attachments, particularly when they're placed up high. Jumping onto non-secure steps, so it wobbles upon landing. We'll discuss this in a while. And then again, stupid exercises such as handstand on. So you want to avoid placing fingers in between the frame and the attachment. So as you see with this frame, we have these little indentations cut out of it. It is quite difficult to get your fingers in there whilst you're trying to put these attachments on. One of the concerns would be that someone may have their hand kind of within these grooves, and then someone else puts the attachment on that's more likely to involve someone's finger becoming damaged or even severed off. So again, just keep your fingers away and then there shouldn't be a problem. So walking into the attachments, particularly when the attachments are set at a elevated level, have obviously, as we see with the image there, you have the risk of kind of walking into them. Usually these attachments are quite brightly coloured, so it should help us to stop that from happening. But the main safety recommendation is that you just want to avoid leaving the attachments at an elevated height when not in use. So there's no reason why you can't put a step, for example, at head height, and maybe you're doing an exercise where you lift a sandbag onto it, that's absolutely fine. But the key thing is when you've finished using that station, then you put the step back down at a lower level, which is less likely to cause injury, or you take it off and leave it to the side, just so again someone's not going to injure themselves if they don't see it. Now jumping onto an unstable step is a problem with certain types of rig. Kind of depends what the attachment is like. Sometimes when the step is in place it's very secure. In this way, well, you see this attachment, we actually need a little bit of a gap in order to get the attachment on and off. And as you see with the video, that causes it to have a little bit of what we refer to as wiggle room, as you see moving it there. That's fine for some exercises, but if we're landing on that exercise, so as you see, if we jump onto the step with 2 feet, then there's going to be a lot of wobble upon landing, and there is the risk of us then falling off and injuring ourselves. Some steps, as we see here, are perfectly stable upon landing, and if you have one of these stable steps, then jumping onto it is absolutely fine, not a problem at all. If it's quite unstable, and you can feel that just by kind of moving it side to side, then we would advise you do anything where you jump onto it and land onto it. Jumping off, absolutely fine. Keeping a foot on it, absolutely fine, but avoid jumping onto it. And then here we see a stupid exercise. So trying to perform a handstand on top of the dip bars. Even if they're positioned quite low down, it's still a stupid exercise, as we see as Mark loses it there. Again, the risk of injury will far exceed any potential benefits that you may get from performing that exercise, so we just wouldn't allow it. Now, looking at resistance cord or resistance band safety, 2 main ones are not attaching the anchor securely, and then a critical one, which is overstretching the resistance cord or the resistance band so that it snaps. So we'll have a look at the anchor in a second, but key thing to remember is the resistance cord or the resistance band is just a large elastic band. Stretch it too far and it will snap, and we have had clients that have experienced that, where trainers have unfortunately stretched it beyond its point, and the thing snaps, and just like when an elastic band snaps, it will then recoil, so you have had clients injured as a result of overstretching this piece of equipment. Key thing, it is not a bungee cord. Don't call it a bungee cord, don't treat it like a bungee cord. It is more like an elastic band. So we can do resisted movements, an elastic, just the same with an elastic band. If you stretch it, it will recoil. But if you stretch an elastic band too far, then it will snap. Now with the anchor, key thing you want to do, as you see this portable anchor, is you need to attach it, and then in this case you need to screw the screw a reasonable way in, just so that this cannot move. If the screw isn't done up enough, then unfortunately if you are pulling on the anchor using the resistance cord, there is a potential for it to come off. Theoretically, even though the elastic band or the resistance cord doesn't break, that anchor could then hit a client. As far as we know, this has never happened, but again, you just need to make sure that the anchor is secure whenever you're doing any kind of exercises using the resistance cord. And then the last key thing, just to kind of discuss before we finish, is again making sure you don't run out too far. Even if the band doesn't break, you may find that it pulls you back, so the kind of client will fall over, maybe hitting themselves against the upright. Again, you need to be leaning forward to maintain a good posture, but don't try and stretch the band too far, or injury will likely. So for the review, you need to make sure you watch all the presentations for this module. And then with the guided learning practice, complete the guided learning practice for this module, details of which are on the learner management system. You should complete the guided learning submission for this module as well. So just to state that you've completed the correct number of hours. You then have the review questions, and complete the review questions for this module to ensure you've met the learning outcomes.